Welcome everyone. As you know, Florida Citrus Mutual usually summarizes the year in review at the Florida Citrus Annual Conference. Unfortunately, for 2 years running, we had to cancel the conference because of the COVID-19 virus. But like growers, the Florida Citrus Mutual staff forged ahead during these very difficult, challenging times. We're going to recap the 2021 season by way of Zoom, a virtual meeting service that I knew nothing about a year ago that now has become part of everyday life. As things start to return to normal and COVID appears to be in the rearview mirror, we have a lot to be thankful for. We've seen a lot of changes during the year, but one thing has not changed. Mutual's primary role is to continue to serve our grower membership, as well as communicating the importance of Florida citrus to elected officials, regulators, the media, and the general public. As political winds shift, we need to educate and re-educate Republicans, Democrats, independents across Florida and the United States on why citrus matters and why they should set policy accordingly. First, we'll report on our federal initiatives. Last season, Mutual leveraged its long-standing and open lines of communication with key lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Our friends include, but are not limited to, Representative Kathy Castor, Al Lawson, Darren Soto, and of course, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a powerful member of the Appropriation Committee. And don't forget our dedicated GOP industry supporters, such as Greg Steube, Vern Buchanan, Bill Posey, Mario Diaz-Balart, as well as our U.S. Senators Rick Scott and Marco Rubio. Even more encouraging is the fact that recently appointed U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack is a good friend of the Florida citrus industry. One of our highest priorities during the last 2 seasons was to help reduce large orange juice inventories, which were having a negative effect on grower returns. With the help of the Florida delegation and USDA, Mutual aggressively pursued orange juice purchases through a federal trade mitigation and Section 32 program. This effort was a great success. During the past 2 seasons, USDA purchased more than $130 million worth of orange juice, totaling about 31 million pound solids. Also, COVID had a huge effect on orange juice demand. Consumers remembered how good orange juice is to help boost their immune system. The Department of Citrus marketing messages were well received and positioned to support the increase in consumer demand. Retail orange juice sales skyrocketed and exceeded the losses experienced from the away-from-home market, such as restaurants, hotels, and universities. We are confident, though, that food service sales will improve as the economy opens back up. As a consequence of increased retail demand and those government purchases, excessive Florida orange juice inventories have been eliminated, which has contributed to a significant improvement to grower returns. In addition to the opportunistic sales, Congress continued to support HLB research with funding for the CHIRP and the USDA MAC program. MAC dollars provide important funding, $9.5 million for Florida citrus research and field trials, the CRAFT program. CRAFT has been quite a success, funding more than 100 projects across the state. And those projects are designed for growers to implement best production practices to succeed in the face of HLB. Funding for CRAFT has been and will continue to be one of our highest priorities. As modern transportation and technologies have shrunk the world, consumer demands have increased, and domestic and imported products will compete for those purchases. Citrus is grown around the globe, whether it's China, South Africa, Spain, Mexico, Brazil, and citrus producers from those countries want access to the United States, the most lucrative market in the world. Since its founding 70 years ago, Florida Citrus Mutual has protected Florida citrus growers from the negative impacts presented by global trade, specifically unfair and illegal trade practices. We have always said Florida growers can compete with anyone on a level playing field, but maintaining a level playing field is quite a challenge. With that in mind, the 2021 season included significant increases in Mexican orange juice imports, a dumping challenge, a potential tariff, and even a quota system were on the table after we received an unfavorable USCMA trade agreement. We'll continue to closely monitor Mexican orange juice imports, as well as continue our work on trade remedies to address any improprieties. Also, Florida Grapefruit found itself mixed up in a trade fight between Boeing, Airbus, with retaliatory tariffs leveled by the European Union as part of that dispute. Duties on Florida Grapefruit were raised by more than 100%. Mutual, coupled with FFVA and our grower members, jumped into action. We notified our congressional delegation and other important trade allies that the situation was going to cripple the Florida grapefruit market. Boeing Airbus matter is back on the negotiating table, and we expect the EU grapefruit market to return to normal next season. Aside from the federal juice purchases, the research funding, and trade issues, Mutual also worked to help implement improved citrus crop insurance options. We worked on improvements to the H2A program in Washington, as well as provide guidance and direction to growers as the Hurricane Irma block grant program nears completion. Although there was plenty going on in Washington, it was not the only place where Mutual got things done. This industry had another great year in Tallahassee. We are pleased to report significant appropriations from state general revenue dollars to help the industry by bolstering research and marketing efforts for Florida citrus. They include $3 million for the Citrus Research and Development Foundation, $5 million for large-scale research field trials, meaning potentially a cycle 3 for the craft program, $500,000 for the new varieties program, and $17 million, $5 million recurring, plus $12 million in new general revenue for the Florida Department of Citrus marketing programs. In total, this amounts to $25.5 million. That funding is in addition to the federal CHIRP funding of $7 million, for a grand total of $32 million dedicated to Florida citrus programs. And what does this money mean to the grower? It equates to just north of 58 cents a box that growers saved versus if they had to pay for the funding of these citrus programs themselves. Think about it. Mutual's assessment of 3.9 cents per box saves the equivalent of 58 cents per box for citrus programs that directly benefit citrus growers. This funding is another example of the great return on your investment from your dues to Mutual. Senator Ben Albritton, who chairs the Appropriations Subcommittee on Agriculture, once again played a pivotal role in securing dollars for citrus. Big Ben really rang the bell for us. In addition to Senator Albritton, Senate President Wilton Simpson and Senators Kelly Stargell and Debbie Mayfield, as well as House Speaker Chris Bowles and State Representatives Chuck Clemens, Lawrence McClure, and Josie Tomko, leadership and support in the industry was unparalleled. We can't thank them enough for believing in us. Another Tallahassee initiative this year was to support the registration of Aldicarb for use in Florida. Although we pushed hard, we were not successful, and it was denied by the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. Commissioner Freed called me herself to explain her position. We were disappointed and frustrated in that decision. We hate to lose Aldicarb from the toolbox, so we'll continue to explore all options to get this product back in the hands of the growers to use safely and responsibly. Now I'm going to zoom it back to Tom for a few more updates.
Thanks for letting me follow the bad news, Mike. Despite last year's annual industry conference being canceled, I am pleased to report that the value of the educational session was preserved and able to live on. Last June, we partnered with the Citrus Research and Development Foundation to host a virtual education session, which drew more than 200 attendees. And that wasn't our only foray into online meetings. The Mutual Board, along with other ag organizations, used virtual meetings to keep pace. Mutual even did its fundraising and crop estimate on Zoom. Dr. Scott Engel, the new head of IFAS, did a terrific job as keynote speaker at the crop estimate. Although the Zoom meetings will continue to be a popular means of communication, I'm excited about future face-to-face interactions. In November, Mutual and the CRDF presented a second seminar explaining peptides, what they are, and how they might fight against HLB. The event featured world-renowned scientists and peptide experts. We learned that we've got a ways to go, but the potential is very exciting. Our board has been very fiscally responsible over the past decade, as the crop and our budget have declined. Our annual audit in 2021 once again came back clean, and our financial position remains strong with adequate reserves to protect our future and bring stability to the organization's outlook. The mutual assessment has remained at 3.9 cents per box. I would like to take some time to recognize our outgoing board members, including Bill Lennon, Bill Lewin, Greg Nelson, Tim Philman, and Mike Prescott. These guys have been tremendous assets to the board, and we greatly appreciate their dedication and their service. We also have some new faces joining our board. We welcome Scott Boyd, Ned Hancock, V.C. Hollingsworth, Corby Myers, and Christian Spinoza. And we look forward to working closely with each of them. I've been honored to serve as president of Florida Citrus Mutual the past 3 years. In that time, I've witnessed the passion and dedication shared by the entire team at Florida Citrus Mutual. Mike, you and your staff do yeoman's work on behalf of the Florida citrus grower, and we are grateful for your efforts. Finally, I would like to close with a note about the growers. Each and every one of them inspire me for their commitment to our industry. The Florida citrus grower has had to endure a lot of heartache and hardships over this past decade. However, they continue to get back up, invest, innovate, and fight. Over the past 3 years, I've witnessed their passion at board meetings with elected officials, or over a cold refreshment. I cherish the time spent with each of them, and they make me optimistic about the future of Florida citrus. God bless all of you.
In closing, I want to mention 2 Florida Citrus Mutual legends who were named to Hall of Fame this year. Former CEO Bobby McCowan was inducted into the Florida Agriculture Hall of Fame. And our 2-time president and longtime board member, Steve Sorrells, joined the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame. They both did so much to help build this tremendous industry, as well as this tremendous organization. And even though it's after the fact, congratulations, Bobby and Steve. I know the Zoom fatigue is real, so we'll wrap this up. It's time to put the 2021 season to bed and prepare for a prosperous new season. Our plate is full already. We have plenty of work to do. As always, and on behalf of the Florida Citrus Grower, I want to close with Florida Citrus Mutual remains focused, committed, and making a difference.